Welcome to another Finish It Friday, everybody. If you have a big pile of frames with embroideries on like I have here and you want to get them finished, then keep watching and we'll work through them together. Hi everyone, it's Sarah from Sarah Homfray Embroidery. So just a little recap about a Finish It Friday. So these videos are really just a bit of gentle encouragement and some practical help as well to help you get your embroideries finished. So we have a whole playlist of videos tackling different aspects of why we find it hard to get finished. So I'll put that up at the end of this video. If you want to see some other ideas and you need some other help with finishing your embroideries, then do check that playlist out. So in every video I tackle a different aspect. So in this video I'm going to look at problem pieces. So those pieces that you know you want to get finished, but for some reason that you've got a real stumbling block about and you just can't get past it. So I'm going to go through a few ideas around that and see if we can help out and get you over that stumbling block and get your pieces finished. Just before I get into that though, I'm going to show you some things that I've pulled off my frames. So I was running out of frames. I was looking for a frame for a video to do one of my videos. I was like, where's all my frames gone? So I had a little look around. I didn't have to look too far, and obviously I found a big pile of frames. I thought, oh, that's where they all are. So good chance, a good opportunity to get everything out and assess it and see where I'm at, see what I want to finish, and see if I can get some of this stuff off the frames. I just want to remind you as well at this point, I've mentioned this in the other videos, that it is always an option to say, I don't want to finish it anymore. If you come across something that's been on a frame for a long time and you've lost the love for it and you think, I really don't want to do this, I'm really not feeling this, it's always okay to say, I'm not going to finish this one. And if you check out those other videos, I've got some ideas about what you can do with those pieces, but I've also got a new idea that I'm formulating of what you can do with the unfinished pieces without having to actually finish them. We can still turn them into something, so keep watching for that one coming very soon. So I had my pile of embroidery frames. So the first thing was just to go through them and see if I've actually finished the pieces or not, and to finish them. So I think what I'll do is just show you them separately, how I finished it, just talk about how I finished it to get it off the frame, and then what I'm going to do with it now, because hopefully that will give you a few ideas about what you may be able to turn your pieces into. It's two separate processes to do the stitching and to finish it, and it's easier to do the stitching and finish the stitching, but then it's still not finished until you've done something with it. We do have lots of ideas on what you can turn your embroideries into. We have a whole playlist on that one as well, so do check out the channel if you're not sure what to make out of it, out of your embroideries. So I'm going to go through each one and show you the processes that I have in mind. So this little sampler has been on a frame for a long time, and this was my sampler I did for our video on weird threads. We looked at lots of different weird embroidery threads and had a little practice with them, and we talked about how you could use them, and just talked about sampling as well, which is important. So this was the little sample I did for the video, and then in the middle I was going to do a little design using all these threads. The moment has long gone. It wasn't ever going to happen, but I kind of left it on the frame thinking, oh, I'll do that one day, that would be really good to finish up. But the moment is gone. The video is not so recent now, still very relevant if you want to try some different threads, but it didn't really need a bit in the middle bit, and I thought I'm not going to get it done. And the other thing that's happening with this is, if you can see these little marks on it, so these are from the pins. So I used a stretcher bar frame for this, and the pins leave the marks and they go rusty, and I'm always saying to people, don't leave it on. Don't leave your embroidery on the frame. Take it off, because this can happen. And then I just do it. So do as I say, not as I do. So it needed to come off the frame anyway, because it's got these pin marks in it. I'm not going to finish the middle, but I'm going to save this one. I'm not going to do anything with it because it's a sampler for the video, but I am going to save it to show you what I could turn it into later. So I'm just going to put that to one side. So this is another one that's been on the frame for a long time. Same problem, rusty pins. Really should take these off. Really should practice what I preach. Take them off. So I've got rusty pins in it. I do leave myself quite a bit of fabric when I do my stitching, so it's not anywhere near the embroidery. I can finish this into something and get rid of the rusty bits. So it's rescuable, but it is, again, just, you know, you need to get them off the frame really. And I didn't know what to do with this one. This was a little sample from another video, and it wasn't quite finished with the stitching. It didn't have any stitching around the gold letters. So this is a fabric paint here, and I did a little video on how to use fabric paint. And I didn't stitch around it. I thought, I'm just going to stitch around the letters, and then at least I can get it off the frame because the stitching is done. And then when I did that, I got kind of a bit into it, and I thought, oh, I'll do a little bit more. So I did this one around the edge, and then I started to like it, and I started to get back into it again. So then I had all these other ideas about what I could do with this, and I could stitch this, I could stitch that. And then I looked at the pile of stuff I still had to do and thought, I'm going to do something a bit simpler. So what I did recently was I bought some really lovely fabrics at a show I went to. These are French linens, they're beautiful. That beautiful one with the roses. And then when I put that with it, I just thought that went really nicely with that. It's the right sort of format with it. It's the right colours. Obviously in hindsight, if I knew I was going to do that, I might have matched the pink thread, but it doesn't matter. So I thought I'd make a little bag out of this. So I'm going to do a sort of, it's a nice pink, so maybe a slice of that in the middle, this one at the bottom, and make myself a bag out of it, because that is quite simple. I've only got to sew around the edges and put a handle on it. So that's what that one is going to be. So I've done all the stitching I think I am going to do on that, and I'm going to make it up into a bag. So it was interesting that once I sort of thought I'm going to get it off the frame, I'm just going to do that stitch, I actually quite enjoyed that and got back into it. And then I've been to the show recently and I found this fabric and I thought, perfect. I didn't know I needed the fabric for that, but it inspired me, and I thought that's really lovely colours together. I'm going to finish it with that. So the other thing I've been doing a lot of recently is some mindful embroidery. We've just been stitching for the fun of stitching, without a pattern, without instructions to follow, just to get back into stitching and to enjoy that process of it and not worry about making it into something. So I've done quite a few of these. So if you've seen those videos, let's go from these ones first. So that was my little practice one I did just to try it out. Did that one in a ring frame. And I also did the same technique. Let's go in this order, myself sorted. So same technique. So this is the one I did on the video, just on a piece of linen. So kind of quite freestyle, just trying different stitches, grabbing a nearest thread, trying some different threads if I wanted to. I tried a little flower. Got a whole video on this. So if you're interested in this, go and check that out. But I also did it in other techniques. So that's kind of quite freestyle. I then did it in a needlepoint technique. So I wanted to show that you could do this whatever technique you like and whatever kind of way you like stitching, but it's just to sort of free you up a little bit and not worry about the constraints of patterns and designs and kits. And so I did exactly the same, and I just experimented with some threads, and this was actually about that big originally, and then I thought, oh, I've got an idea about what I'm going to do with this. So I'm going to show you that one in a second. Come back to that. This is a cross stitch version. So cross stitch is if you're feeling like you would like to experiment a bit more with your cross stitch and leave the safety of the holes and try some different things with your stitching. This is a great way to do it. So I've still done it on a cross stitch fabric, still in an Ada fabric. This is all cross stitch, but lots of different sizes and different threads, and there is a video on that one as well. So that one's great for cross stitchers. And then this is one I did for our channel members and our Patreons. So if you're interested in this one, do go and check that out. That's on those two platforms. I'll put details in the description below this video if you're interested in joining us on channel members and Patreons for some extra content. So that one's on there. But if I come back to this one, so I had an idea when I was making this. I thought, oh, what can I turn it into? Because these two are the same sort of format. And I thought, oh, I could make a book cover out of it. Make a little needle case cover, so I could cut the fabric away, could fold it in half. I thought that was really lovely. And then I thought, do I want to keep making book covers? I think this one will be a book cover. But this one, I had another idea. So I actually added some stitching on. I wanted to make it a little bit longer than it was. So it was originally to there. So although I've done this mindfully, now I'm thinking, what can I turn it into? And then I thought, I want to make it into this. It needs some more stitching. So I just carried on in the same way of adding some stitches on. But now I've got a purpose, because I'm going to make with this, these little fabric pots. So these are some slow stitched ones, but they're really cute and they're super simple to make. If you're interested in making these, then do let me know and we'll do a little video on that, because they are great fun to make these and really good to turn these little leftover embroideries into. So those are slow stitching ones. So I'm going to do the same with this. So I'm going to fold this fabric in, and then I am going to, if I do it like that, and I'm going to make this little pot. All that white will be in the middle. And I'm going to make this little stitched pot with it. So it's a little mindful stitch pot. But I thought just something really different to make with that, and it was the perfect size for it if I just added those extra stitches on. So that's what I'm going to do with that one. So that one's another one off the frame. And then we have got my magic box. So you may have seen my video recently on some little boxes. We made little fabric boxes. They're really, really cute. Super great for making as presents. And I had this one in the video, and this has been on the go for a long time, and I'm stuck with it. So I'm actually going to come back to this one because I want to talk about this in a minute to demonstrate something else. So it's a little bit further than it was in the last video. So I'll come back to this one in a second. Okay, so let's tackle some reasons why you might be really struggling to get something finished. So I did mention earlier about it being two processes. Stitching something is one process, finishing is another. And I asked my YouTube community and my channel members and my patrons as well what they struggled with, and we came up with a kind of a list, and high on the list was not knowing how to finish something, not having the skills required to finish that thing. Know how to stitch it, don't know how to do it. So this is my version of that problem. So this is my temperature sampler. This has been out in a few videos now. There's a whole video on how to make this on my other channel, Sarah Homfray Creates, if you're interested. A row of stitching for every day of the year. It was a few years ago now, and a different colour assigned to a different temperature, and I keep a record of the temperature, and it's got sequins on it for when there was ice and beads on it for when there was rain. So there's a lot going on it. So I did all the stitching, a year's worth of stitching, and then I was like, how am I going to finish it? And I just didn't have the skills to finish it. I thought I want to be a soft hanging, but I don't have any quilting skills. I'm not a quilter. I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to get the machine out, and I'm going to have to do complicated fabric joining methods, and I'm gonna have to bag it out. And I thought, oh, I don't know how to do it, and it just ended up rolled up in a bag for ages and ages and ages. And I had it close to me because I thought I really want to get this done, so I kept seeing this thing. I hadn't got it hidden away, it was on the desk. So I finally thought I'm going to get this done. I don't want it hanging around for another year. It'd be really nice to display and hang it up. So I went and bought some fabric for it, because that's the other thing, I didn't have any fabric to go on the back that matched the front. So I went and bought a fabric specifically for it, and then I thought, I don't have the quilting skills, but I made this little piece. So there's a video on this as well. This is slow stitch flowers, and I just finished it off with a soft backing on it, and I just folded the front over and hand sewed it. And I kind of thought, oh, I actually have enough skills to do this. I don't need to get the machine out. I don't need to learn complicated things. I can actually just do this on a bigger scale, on a longer scale really, for my temperature one, but it isn't really any different. And if you look closely and you're a quilter, you will probably suck your breath in a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's absolutely fine for what I wanted. So I did the same with this. I did it all by hand. I folded it in, I've ironed it, and I've hand sewn it all the way round. And I've done these little tabs at the top. I put buttons on. They're not actual buttonholes in there. I thought, oh, do I make buttonholes? And that's a whole nother technique and another skill. So I didn't do that. I've just put poppers underneath and sewn buttons on the top, so I can take it off the reel if I want to. So there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors going on. And if you look really closely, you know, it's hand sewn. You can tell it's hand sewn, but it's finished and it's done, and I can hang it up. So I'm super pleased that I actually got that done in the end. So I suppose what I'm trying to say here is you can either go and learn a new technique, or you can change it slightly. Think, can I do something a little bit different with it, that using a technique that I know to finish it that way. So if you're not making it into a soft hanging and you want to frame it, I know this one comes up a lot as well. So we do have videos on how to finish embroidery. So we do have this one, how to finish it professionally. So this is how we learned to do it on the Royal School of Needlework Apprenticeship, how to put your embroidery around a board and make it super tight and finish off the back and put it in a frame. So I've got a whole video on that, which is this project, if you want to know how to do this in a frame, how to frame it up properly. And we also have one as well on how to do it in a hoop, a little Northern Lights embroidery. So if you don't want to put it in a frame, but you still want to be able to display it easily, hoops are brilliant. You can use the hoop that you are stitching it in, or you can use a special display hoop if you want to and put a backing on. So there's a video on that one as well. So if you're stuck on how to actually finish it for display, we've got a couple of videos on that as well. And I just want to mention at this point, I know in America with your Needlepoint you do have actual finishing services, and you can get somebody to finish it for you, and they'll turn it into a cushion or a hanging or a Christmas stocking or a box. I've seen so many beautiful things, and those people are experts at doing the finishing. So you're the expert at the embroidery, they're the expert at the finishing. So you can always get somebody else to do it if you can find somebody who will finish it off and use their skills to finish it. So that is always an option as well. So I just want to bring in my magic box at this point, because if you saw my video on box making, my little introduction, we did a Chit Chat Tuesday introduction to it. You will have seen this box, this magic box, and this has been around for a long time as well. And I got really stuck on this one. I got box making skills, but my idea was that this lid would open both ways. So I could open it that way and you would see these two compartments, and then I could lift it that way and you would see this compartment. And it was a really brilliant box. I'd seen it on I think just made out of cardboard. Thought, that's super, I want to make one of those out of fabric. And I started it and I got really stuck with the mechanics of it and I just couldn't make it work. So I kind of thought, I've got this box, we've done this box making video, I'm just going to finish it. I'm just going to put a flat lid on the top. Coming up, come on. No, it's not coming up. So I thought I'll just put a lid on it and just finish it as a normal box. And I can just sew that on there, and I've got a really nice little box to do. And then when I did that, I thought, oh, maybe I could make this work. Hello. That was an effort, wasn't it? So I made this little mock-up of it, and it works in the little mock-up. It's got a bit squashed, but if I do it one way, these two open. If I do it the other way, this one opens. So I thought I could actually try it. I think I am going to have another go and see if I can just do it by working it out as I go along. So I would normally plan, and you can do all your drawings and work out your measurements, but sometimes you just have to get in there and work it out as you go. And it's not perfect. I would do things differently if I did it again, but it's getting it finished and it's getting it done. So sometimes that just has to take precedent. If these things have been around for so long, you just have to finish them. So I can always just sew my lid on if I want to. I'm going to have a go at making these inner parts. It won't affect anything I've already made. See if I can make this magic box work. If I have a go at that and I'm still struggling, I'm going to abandon it. So I'm going to give it one more shot, basically, is what I'm saying, and have a go one more time to see if I can do it. If not, I sew the lid on and I've got a really nice box. So sometimes you just need to maybe actually get in there and try it out. If you think, I don't know how to do this, have a go and work it out as you go along. That's not normally the way that I would work, but in this situation it seems to have worked for me. So if you are struggling that way, maybe you could try that option. Okay, let's whistle through some of the other points that came up. So a big project and you lose interest. This came up a lot. You get enthusiastic, think I can do that, and then you get bored of it. So this is one of mine. So this was a quilt don't quilt. I don't quilt, but I just enjoyed making these little hexagons. And I was going to make a whole, I don't know what I was going to make, a whole quilt. That's half of it. There's another half again on the back, and then another little bit there that I was going to sew on. It's never going to be a whole bed cover. It just isn't. So I'm going to finish it with this. I'm going to put this on the end and finish it off so the whole thing is square, and I'm going to call that done. It'll be a bed runner or something to hang on the wall or something like that. So it's always okay to change your mind about what you were going to make. If you had a big project and you started out thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to do a set of curtains, how great will that be? And then after half a curtain you think, I don't want to do set curtains, maybe you could turn it into some cushions. So it is okay to change your mind about what you want to make it into, make that decision, think I like doing it, but can I turn it into something else? So if you do decide that you have a big project and you do actually want to finish it, but you're struggling to get going, then I suggest allotting short periods of time to do it, but regular ones. So you can kind of get back into it. When you leave something for a while, it's hard to remember where you got to and what you were doing. So just little small amounts. If it's half an hour, have it somewhere where you can easily access it. So you haven't got to get everything out. You don't spend half an hour trying to set it all up. You can have it there ready to stitch and do it regularly. And then as long as you keep putting stitches in, then you will get to the end eventually. eventually. So if you do have a big project, you don't want to carry on, just manage your time a bit more carefully, regular small amounts of time to get back into it and to get it finished. So another one that came up with struggling with the materials to use. So the threads are a little bit difficult to use, the fabric might be a little bit fragile. So I suggest with this that you try something out first. If you've started and you're using them and you're struggling, grab yourself a little bit of fabric and just do a little bit of experiments and just try and see what the material you're trying to stitch on or with, or the thread you're trying to stitch with, see how they work. So this was my weird threads one that I mentioned earlier. And this was just about experimenting. Lots of strange threads. I don't know how they work. I don't know how they feel. Try them on a little sampler first. See if you like them or not. You might think, oh, this is awful. I never want to stitch with it again. Or you might think, okay, now I've got it. I've done my sample. I've tried it out. Now I can go on my main one and do it on that. So you could also consider with materials and threads that you're struggling to use, can you swap them for something that you can use? So things like rayon. Rayon is a sort of cheaper version of silk, but it's quite hard to use. It's quite slippy. So maybe you could use a different thread instead if you haven't got too far, or you can mix it again, mix it in with the one that you're using. So do consider that as well. Can you actually change up what you're using? And don't forget, you can always decide, this isn't for me. I've tried it. I don't like it. I'm going to pass it on. Ginger cat being a bit annoying now. So this one we've already touched on a little bit about having a project, a big project, and struggling to get to the end of the big project. So another question that came up was, how do I get back into a project? I haven't worked on it for a long time. How can I get going again? How can I be inspired by it again? So if you've had a break from doing some stitching, I suggest you actually allot some time to get reacquainted with it. So don't think I'm going to sit down and I'm going to start stitching again. Just sit down with it and have a look at it, have a feel of it. Try and remember what it was about it that you loved doing in the first place. So you could just get all your threads out and you could have a look at your threads. You could have a look and see what you've done with it. So kind of spend some time getting to know it again, if you like, without the pressure of thinking I've got to do some stitching on it. So once you've got reacquainted with it, spend your next session working out what you've got to do next. So if I just bring my box back in, so all my little box pieces, I actually kept them all in here, which was quite organised of me. So I had my little model that I knew I wanted to create. I had the box pieces that I'd done. I'd even put the fabric in here as well, and I got my card in here too. So it spent some time with it thinking, oh, what was it I was trying to do, and looking at this going, oh, do I still want to do it, and getting excited again about the magic part of the magic box. And I had a set of instructions in there as well with the sizes on, so I had all the information I needed. So it's a case of get reacquainted, get to where I'd got to with the project, and then it's work out, what do I need to do next? How do I need to progress with it, allowing for the fact that you can change your mind about what you make it into. So if you don't want it to be magic, just make a normal box. So that's always an option as well. So get to know it, then work out what you need to do next. And then I would suggest kind of a third session. Then you can sit down and you can do the next part. So split it up into 3 sections, and I think you'll find it easier to pick up your project again. So again, on the same theme, we had a complicated piece that requires a lot of concentration, and how do you get through that? It was easier to pick up a simpler piece and sit and do that than it was to apply yourself to a more complicated piece. So the same sorts of ideas really is to break that down into smaller stitching amounts, I would suggest. So if you've got to concentrate hard on stitching, it can be quite tiring. Your body's probably tensing up a bit, your shoulders might get tight, your eyes might get sore. So I suggest if you've got something you need to concentrate a bit on, shorter stitching sessions. Allot yourself a session to do it. I'm going to do half an hour on this, then I'm going to stop and have a break and walk around, and either go and do something else or come back to it if you want. But do have those breaks. Those are important if you're doing something that requires concentration, especially for your eyes, especially for your shoulders and your posture as well. So do think about those things. And the other thing with that one as well is find some quiet time so you don't get disrupted. If you need to concentrate, having a lot of stuff going on in the background, think I've got to get the washing out, the kids are coming home, whatever else might be going on in your life, you can't concentrate when all that's going on. So if you can find yourself a quiet time, even if it is only half an hour in the day, you will find you get a lot more done if you have a bit of quiet. Okay, so deadlines. You have a deadline to make something and you've missed it. Now there's no reason to finish your project. I've heard this a few times. Usually with baby things, I'm going to make the baby a blanket. I'm going to make a sampler for the newborn. When the newborn arrives, and then before you know it, they're 2 years old and you haven't finished your sampler. So I see this quite a lot. So you've got a couple of things you can do here. Ask yourself, do you still want to do it? Has the moment gone? Is it time to pass that on and to get on with something else? So make that decision first. Can you turn it into something else? Could you change the dates on it? Make it a 18th birthday sampler. Christening gowns is another one. I'm going to embroider this beautiful christening gown and then the baby's too big to wear it. So can you repurpose it into something else? So do you want to finish it? Can you turn it into something else? If you don't want to do either of those things, then I suggest you move it on or you save it for this little project that I'm going to show you in a few weeks' time. Okay, so what happens if you put it away in a cupboard and it's out of sight and out of mind? That's a good reason for not finishing something, because you've forgotten you've got it. And then when I was looking for some frames and I thought, where's all my frames gone? And then I found all these embroideries. I thought, oh, I really must finish those. You know, fed up of looking at this one, this sew one. So, yeah, if you stick it in a cupboard, you will forget about it and you won't finish it. So maybe try and have a pile of things that you want finishing. Put them somewhere where you can see them so that you're not hiding them away. If you're hiding them away, you probably don't want to finish it. So maybe make a decision about you before you stick it to the back of the cupboard about whether you want to do it or not. You can always use these Finish It Friday prompts to help you, because I know people will watch this and they'll go and rush off, go, oh, what can I finish? And it always inspires people to finish. And you always message me, oh yeah, I've got this and I've got that done. And it's really great to see you inspired by it. So use these videos to help you. It's always easy when you're doing it with somebody else. You can encourage each other a little bit and help each other to get these pieces finished. So the other thing that you can do is you can go and shop your stash or your project pile in this case. So instead of starting something new, you think, oh, I really want to do that. Why don't you go and see what you've already got? You haven't seen it for a while. You might be inspired by it again. You might think, oh yeah, I really like that. I'm going to go and finish that. And a really good way to help with this, I've mentioned this a few times, is to finish 2 pieces for every one that you start. So if you think I'm going to start a new piece, but I've got to finish these 2 and then I can start it. So you're not saying to yourself, I can't start something new. You can, but if you finish 2 things, then eventually the pile will go down. And you can still start something new as well. So that one is really helpful. So the last thing that I want to mention is for those of you who've mentioned that you're actually stuck with a particular stitch or stuck with a technique. So obviously this can happen quite a lot. You're trying a new technique out and you've never done it before and you think, I don't understand the instructions, I don't know how to do it. I'm going to point you to my videos at this point. We have videos on lots of different techniques, loads of different stitches. We've covered most things. We've covered a lot of different techniques and a lot of different stitches. Do go and check out the channel, see if we've got something in there that can help you to move on and to help you understand. Sometimes seeing somebody do it is easier than reading it off some instructions or out of a book. If it's a stitch you're stuck on, could you do a different stitch? I have some stitches that I don't like doing, and I have some other ones that I love doing. So could you go and find a different stitch that would work instead? Don't forget sampling, get yourself a little bit of fabric in a frame and just try it out first to have a little practice of it. Practice on here, see if you can do it, see if you like doing it before you decide if you actually want to use it. If you don't, find a different stitch instead. Okay, so I hope that's been a little bit helpful to maybe go and look at your projects and find out why you're stuck with it and maybe a few ideas on how you can move on with it. These aren't magic solutions. You still have to make the decision about whether you want to do it or not, and you actually have to do the stitching. The little fairy doesn't come around and finish stitching it for you, I'm afraid, but I hope these points will help you to make some decisions and help you to move on with your projects. And if you want to see the other Finish It Friday videos with more help on finishing your projects, do check out this playlist up here. And we have a stitch sampler playlist down here if you want to go and check out those stitches and see if you can get some help with those. If you've enjoyed watching this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you next time.